Hey everyone, so today I want to talk about Season 3 of Squid Games because I found it to be a bit disappointing. I don't think this is a horrendous season of a TV show, firstly. It's definitely not going to go down in the top 10 worst finales of all time. I don't think it's like on the same level of Game of Thrones or Dexter or anything like that, but I do find some of the parts to be a bit disappointing for sure. I think that this season is just very simplistic, is the best way to put it. It gives you exactly what you would expect from Squid Games, like the deaths, the new games, the emotional elements are here, but it doesn't really do anything beyond that. And I think the fact that they didn't really do anything new for the final season really kind of hurts it in a lot of ways. Now, I am going to talk about spoilers, but firstly, I'm going to talk about player 456, the main character of this show, because I think he was just done completely dirty here. I don't understand what they were trying to do with him. When you look at the beginning of season 2, for example, his obvious goal is to end the Squid Games. Everything he's doing when it comes to hiring people to find the recruiter, then putting himself into the game, even getting like a little tracker into his tooth. So when he gets sent to the island, it's like, oh, everyone's going to be able to see where I am, so we can end all of this. All those motivations are not in season 3 at all. Obviously, at the end of season 2, he starts a gunfight between the guards and the players. You know, that was his way of being like, okay, here's another way of stopping this. But of course, his friend dies. He's betrayed by the front man, which, you know, he doesn't know at the time. But when you look at the beginning of season 3, what is he doing? Because whenever you look at season 3, his whole mission goal of ending the Squid Games basically results in nothing. It's not even mentioned in season 3 once. Because whenever you go back to season 2, whenever he starts red light, green light, all the way to the season 3 finale, he essentially accomplishes nothing when it comes to his motivation of ending these games. Obviously, he starts a shootout between the guards and players in season 2 at the finale, but I was kind of hoping when season restarted, because he did fail, that he would be more motivated, more angry, more just wanting to finally end these games for good because they killed his friends and all these other people. But his anger is directed towards one player who probably didn't even deserve what happened to him. So I'm just left very confused. Why was this the direction that they went with? He basically was there to fuck around for 2 seasons, and that was it. But also on top of that, even in the finale of season 3, his daughter still hates him. He was never able to like repair that relationship with his daughter, unfortunately. So he dies, and one of the main like relationships that he has with someone outside of the Squid Games, that person hates him. I was just disappointed because between him and his daughter, it just felt kind of unfinished. Like that was still a plot string that they were going to resolve at some point, but no, they didn't. It just makes me look back at season 1 and think to myself, yeah, he should have just left on that plane, saw his daughter, had a happy ending, because he had no involvement in ending the games anyways. So he just kind of had a sad end where he didn't really achieve anything. There's also just some little things with player 456. Like, I did not understand why they would even keep him alive after the season 2 finale. It never really explains why the front man wants to keep him alive. I guess maybe either to keep the game more interesting or because he sees some humanity in him. I'm not sure. It doesn't really explain it. But as well, when it comes to 456 and the frontman and their interaction, like, I do like the scene where they finally interact, but I just felt like there needed to be more of it. Obviously, the frontman was a big part of the previous season in terms of tricking player 456 and everyone else. I was just kind of hoping there would be a little bit more there, and one scene to me just didn't feel like enough. But I was also thinking with player 456, was there anything outside of like him wanting to end the games that he achieved during the Squid Games? He does save the baby. There are things that he does, but it's all player drama type stuff. It's nothing in terms of ending the Squid Games, which I just found obviously disappointing. But also outside of that, what else did he accomplish in this season? He was basically the final player. Again, maybe the frontman was able to find some kind of like humanity or hope in humans again from player 456, because he gives them the dagger, and obviously player 456 is about to stab player 100, and then he decides not to, and obviously the frontman has some kind of emotional reaction to that. But it kind of feels like player 456, his whole thing was basically to reform, I guess, the frontman. Kind of feel like that's a little lame here. I just found it weird that the frontman was just able to walk out of the place consequence free, like, yeah guys, I'm just gonna walk out of the Squid Game. He actually kind of gets the best ending out of any character, and it's just weird because he was responsible for so much death. And also when it comes to the boat subplot where they're trying to search for the island, how long can a plot drag on for? I already felt like in season 2, when they were searching for the island, it was already dragging. But to take another complete season to get to the point is just mind boggling. Like, I don't understand it. And what's so frustrating is that they are detectives. This subplot could have been used to like uncover mysteries about, the past of Squid Games, or some of the questions that people have, more information about the front man, or more information about the VIPs, or past Squid Games, or whatever. Like, this could have actually been a pretty cool subplot. But instead, it's just, here's an island over here. Should we go look at it? Okay, let's go look at this other island. It's basically just that for 2 seasons, and I'm just left confused. Why? The thing is, when they finally get to the island, it's like in the last 30 minutes of the finale. It doesn't feel, fulfilling or anything. It's just a quick couple of scenes, and that's about it. Hey, here's some bombs that they planted, I guess. Like, honestly, they should have just found the island within the first or second episode, maybe like sneaked onto the Squid Games island and like done some undercover stuff, or I don't know, something. It's just so frustrating because their plot is basically just filler for 2 seasons, and then when they finally get there, it feels super rushed. The subplot just really drags, and it goes nowhere for 2 seasons to finally rush past the most important part of it. But also, I want to talk about the games in this season, because I just find them kind of frustrating. Now, I want to say that I do think like hide and seek, jump rope, and even the final game, these all would have hit very well if they were put into season 1, because I do like the concepts of all of these games. However, it just got to a point where it felt like it was meandering way too long. I understand that you have to spend time with characters. You have to build up the intensity of these scenes. And to do that, sometimes you got to spend a little bit of time on it. But this isn't season 1 or even season 2. This is season 3 where I'm like, man, let's get to the point when it comes to these games so we can have more time to have a more satisfying ending. We're spending a full episode on hide and seek, which I'm not saying was a bad episode, but I do find it frustrating when what is going to happen, at least 90% what's going to happen. Like player 456 was 100% going to kill the guy who wronged him with the ammunition at the finale of season 2. But it's like, it takes so long to get to the point. Basically spend so much time watching player 456 just run around, and look in different directions and stuff. It feels like you're kind of just dragging this out. I honestly do feel that way about season 3 as a whole, where it could have probably just been 3 episodes instead. When it comes to the boat subplot, the games, a lot of just in-between sections, they all feel very dragged out for the sake of just making this season a little longer. And I wish that it just would have gotten to the point, so we could have got a better finale that didn't really feel rushed. I just think the games didn't need to be a big part of season 3. And I really do feel like it was greed, ultimately, at the end of the day, from Netflix that kind of hurt this finale more than anything else. Obviously, when you watch the end of the episode, the front man is in California, and out of all places he could look, he looks to his right and he's like, the recruiter in the USA trying to get people to play Squid Games. And I just find it so frustrating. Like, why? I'm done with Squid Games. I really do feel that way. I don't want to watch a USA version. It just feels so repetitive. But it's also whatever could have been in this finale, learning more about the Squid Games or the front man. You're going to have to watch multiple spin-offs like Squid Games USA, or maybe a spin-off show of the front man or the very first Squid Games to get these answers. More information about the front man, or, what's going on behind the scenes, or the operations of Squid Games around the world, or the VIPs. It's now we have to watch multiple spin-offs when that easily could have been in the finale, and because it's very clear that they sacrificed the quality of this show just to set up future spin-offs. And I know another show that did that, which was The Walking Dead, and look, I've never had any motivation to watch any of those spin-offs because the main show wasn't good, and if your main show is lacking in quality, why would I want to watch the rest of the universe? It doesn't make sense. To me, it is kind of weird because even in universe, there's still unresolved question marks for the characters at the end of the finale. They didn't kill the front man. The VIPs are still out there. So even if they do believe they got rid of Squid Games completely, what's stopping them from doing it again? You still have some of the most important people out there on the loose. It doesn't feel like it's over, and clearly it isn't. It just feels like, it's a little unresolved there. Also, the CGI baby, I did find kind of funny. It is weird to me because you would think with the close-up shots, they could have just gotten a real baby, and then the rest of it could have been CG, but I don't know. I did find it kind of jarring to see such an obvious use of CGI in Squid Games, especially since the previous 2 seasons don't really have jarring visual effects. I think this season was kind of weird when it came to some of the visual effects. There was a CGI dog at one point, which I thought looked kind of weird. But it's not enough for me to be like, oh, this is bad. It was just something that I noticed throughout the show where I thought the previous two seasons didn't really have this issue. Also, some of the editing I thought was a little off. But overall, I think this season was just alright. Like, I wasn't expecting like a happy ending or anything, just an ending that aligned with the characters' motivations and goals, and I just don't think that happened. Basically, we had a season that dragged out. It is kind of weird to me that the frontman out of all characters basically got the most happiest ending. I guess we can look forward to the next 100 spin-off shows of Squid Games because that seems to be what Netflix wants to do here. And I can tell you, I'm not probably going to be watching any of them. But I think I've gotten everything that I possibly could have gotten out of Squid Games from these 3 seasons. So it is what it is. But hey, that's all. That's all I wanted to say about this season. And goodbye.